What was the true reason of United States attacking Iran? What is the relation between petrodollar and colonization? How was the colonization in the past? And what is the modern colonization? In this short episode, I'm going to explain them all together. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to simplify everything that even children can understand the petrodollar system. So let's forget oil. Let's talk about milk, kids, and fruits. Take a look at the map. This is the world map. This is focused specifically on West Asia. What you can see here, there are so many countries such as Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and also Iran, which they have a lot of milk. As you can see, they have so much milk in this region. So in a normal and ideal world, these countries could just sell the milk to any country that would need. Let's say India or China or even European countries. They could say, well, we need milk for our kids. Why can't we get it from you? And these Arab countries or even Iran, which would say, all right, that's too easy. I'm going to give you my milk to a European country and you give the peach back to us. So it would have been a simple trade and everything would be peaceful and easy. Or even India could say, all right, I want milk. How can I get it from Saudi Arabia? So simply they could say, yeah, I will give you here. So you get the milk and I will get the apple. This would happen quite easily and normally. But we are not living in that world. So we are living in a world which is after the Second World War. So what happened in 1970s? That was something extraordinary. So if you remember in the past, maybe talking about 100 years ago, European countries would colonize other countries such as African countries so they could take their resources such as gold and minerals so they could take benefit from their countries directly. But that model proved to be brutal, and many people in their own countries, they wouldn't like that. They say, well, this is taking advantage of the military power against those countries. So they didn't like that. And that couldn't actually continue for quite some time. After the Second World War, some countries such as United States, they thought there should be a better way of just taking the milk without actually paying them. And that's the basis of the petrodollar. Now I'm going to explain how would that look like in our imaginary map, which everything is just milk. I want you to take a look at the other side of the map. So here we can see United States, but United States has lots of onions. So let's say they are producing or they're printing lots of onion. These onions, as they grow and as there are many of them, so they lose their value. Why? Because everything in a normal market, when there are so much supply of that, it loses its value. So let's say if any country wants onion, they could just pay a portion of what they have and get the onion if there were so many available everywhere. So United States thought, how can I get actually the milk without paying anything to these rich Arab countries? Well, the answer was so simple. Let's bring in a contract and call it onion contract. So in the onion contract, so what did they do? So United States came to these Arab countries and said, you know, you have milk, you have a lot of milk. What if you just sell your milk to any country that you want, and we protect you from countries like Iran that may attack you or may not attack you in the future. But you need safety. You need some military power here. So we will protect you. You can sell your oil, but we will only ask for one favor in return. And that's, instead of taking the apple from India, we want you to ask for onion. So if they want to give you apple, you do not accept that. You just say, give me onion. That's the only thing you will accept. So all these Arab countries, they said, well, onion might not be really a good choice for us. What do I do with the onion? And then United States said, we will take your onion. You don't need to keep it in your country. You can bring it to United States and you can invest it in United States and you get the benefit of that. There are lots of benefits of investing in the United States. So these Arab countries said, well, it looks okay. We will do it. So what did they do? They said, all right, I'm going to give this oil. So let's say Saudi Arabia said, all right, I'm going to give this milk, not oil, sorry, this is milk, to India. And instead of getting the apple, they asked for the onion. India didn't have onion. So it said, hey, United States, I need your onion. What do I do? And United States said, well, that's easy. You give me your apple and I give you my onion. So they gave onion to India, and India said, well, now I can pay for this milk with onion. Saudi Arabia said, well, what do I do with the onion? As per the contract, it was sent to the United States. As you can see, simply without doing anything, now United States has apple. Simply free fruit from nothing. So then these countries, they said, well, I have invested in your country. Is there anything that I can do with that? And the United States said, yeah, there are so many things you can do. One of the things that you can do is just buy from us military power, such as like Patriot systems and aircrafts and anything that you want. We have so many of them. You can just get them. So then the number of US bases started to increase in this area because they had a lot of money. They could pay and they could get the military that they wanted. All the time they were being told that there is a country here so great and powerful which they will attack you, and you have no choice and you have nothing other to be destroyed. But if you have these military bases in here, you will be protected, you are safe. But then India wanted other stuff as well. They just didn't want milk. They may wanted peach, cucumber from China or maybe from Europe. So what could they do? So they said, well, everything that I want to buy from even, let's say, European countries, because they have only one choice of buying milk with onion, so they had to keep some onion for themselves. And instead, in return, they have to give these peaches to the United States, as you can see, and all the fruits would be going to the United States through these Arab countries, as you can see, from the European countries all the way to Arab countries, and then they would get some milk in return. But for all other stuff that they wanted, all their money were in the United States as in onion. So they could go to United States and say, well, give me some of my onion so I can give it to India or China. So in return, I can get some peach or cucumber or anything else that I wanted. Simply, as you can see, even the onion is in United States. Countries around the world, they could easily pay with the onion. So the onion was in the United States all the time, but virtually it was owned by other countries like European countries, like China, India. Even though they were in the United States, they belong to other countries. So we can say virtually these are everywhere, even though they are not, because they are in onion. These are like type of onion, which is owned by United States. So simply, all the countries are running out of anything except onion, which is all under USA power, right? There was only a few countries which they said, well, we don't care about onion. We don't want onion. So we will trade with our own fruits. Why would we even do it? So look at this tiny country here, Venezuela. So Venezuela was trading their milk with banana. They said, all right, now I don't care about the onion. Who wants onion? So I'm going to just pay with banana. They were doing it for some time. But US didn't like that. Any country would do it. They said, well, you know what we will be doing? We say, you cannot touch any onion unless you accept any terms that we put against you. What would be the terms? Like anything, any connection with any country, your friendship with other countries. So anything political that they wanted to do would be influenced by US interests. Now, even if Venezuela wanted to buy something else from European countries, because European countries, they had their money in US or as type of onion, they couldn't actually access that, right? So they couldn't pay Venezuela anything else. So Venezuela was under sanctions, like virtually or technically, this is called sanctions. That means Venezuela had oil, but they couldn't give it anywhere, well, because they wouldn't be able to be paid, right? But there are some exceptions. Some countries like China, because they are like powerful in terms of military and also economy, they said, I don't care, I'm going to trade with anything I want. So Venezuela and Iran and some other countries, they started trading their milk with any other country, and they were bypassing the onion contract. That's what happened for quite some time. But it made this country, well, it made US so angry and desperate. So they put sanctions on Venezuela, they put sanctions on Iran, and until the war in Ukraine was started. So what happened at that point in time? US said, I'm going to put sanctions against Russia as well. But that had some backlash because Russia had lots of money in onion. So let's say lots of onion in European countries, which was kind of like controlled by United States. So let's say the onion was in the United States. So Russia thought for a second, what is happening? I have a lot of onion, but these onions, I don't own it. It's owned by US actually. Even though virtually on paper I own them, it's not me who own them. I cannot actually access them if I'm blocked accessing to that money. So what did they do instead? They said, all right, let's get together. They called on some countries such as South Africa, such as China and India, some other countries, and they said, let's bypass this onion contract. We don't like this onion monopoly. Let's bring all our fruits together and form a different treaty. That was called BRICS. So all the countries, they said, from now on, Iran and China, they could swap whatever they wanted, such as milk, with any fruit. And it made this country, US, super angry, super angry. But at some point, these Arab countries, they said, Iran doesn't look like to be an enemy. Actually, Iran is quite friendly with us. We can just trade everything that we want with our milk, just passing it to China and get whatever we want. And we don't need to deal with this onion, which we don't even have access to. And it loses its value over time. So if you compare the onion with gold, it has lost lots of value. So if we keep a lot of onion here, it loses its value. What is the point of keeping them? And this is the tipping point. This is when US thought, if none of the countries use the onion, what will happen? I'm gonna lose all the other fruits as well, like the fruits, everything which was coming from all other countries for free to United States will vanish, will go away, and United States cannot do anything because the countries are now trading their milk, their fruits, and everything that they have all together, bypassing the dominance of the United States. And this was the tipping point. This was the reason, the main reason that US said, if I attack Iran and if I can grab the milk from Iran as well, so the next step, I would be blocking the Strait of Hormuz, which is right here in the middle of the map. I'm gonna block it here. And what happens next is, like, any country such as United Arab Emirates, if they wanted to trade their milk with anything other than onion, I would say, sorry, you've gone too far. I'm gonna stop you here because now I have leverage over the Strait of Hormuz. So that was the actual reason that they said, we now need to bring Iran down to its knees. But Iran had its own plan. And for this war, they were prepared for 30, 40 years. As we know up so far, after months of fighting and war between Iran and United States, Iran is still fighting back very hard and is protecting its borders. I hope in this video you understand why United States attacked Iran. What are the objectives? What are they trying to achieve? So forget the nuclear, forget the missiles, everything. If you can capture and control a country like Iran, that means you will have influence over all these Gulf countries, and you will control and you will bring the power of the onion back into the table, and then you can sell all these useless and out of value onions to the whole world. This is exactly the reason. This is called modern colonization. So if Iran can survive this war, Iran will be able to say, well, I now have the leverage over the Strait of Hormuz. But why do you think Iran attacked these countries, these Gulf countries, if they were going to stand against United States? But what would be the reason for Iran attacking those countries? Well, in fact, if you think about it, Iran is actually taking out US from the region. So these countries will actually be free and that they can trade their milk with anything that they want. Or we can talk about that in a different video. I hope you enjoy watching this video and you have better insights about what was this war for. In the next video, I will try to explain the war strategy which is happening right now between Iran and US, and what should you expect coming up after this conflict.